You don't have to tell me how you feel. You don't need to explain yourself to me. You don't need to convince me that you're sick. You don't need to convince me how hard and debilitating this journey has been for you. I understand every single piece of it. I understand sitting in a ball in the corner of the bathroom, sitting in your car, wherever you can be alone and feel safe to cry and to hate every ounce of your day. I understand what it's like to not sleep, and instead of just sitting up watching TV, you're on the internet searching websites for answers, going into chat groups, looking for people who understand, going into Facebook pages looking for little clues and answers that may have helped other people. I understand what it feels like to be completely alone even though you're surrounded by people. I understand what it feels like to feel like no one understands the pain, the ache, the hurt in your heart. I understand what it feels like to have children who are sick and there's no answer to get them better. I understand what it feels like as a woman to feel invisible because the only thing you can feel is the pain of trying to get your children better. I understand what it feels like to have bad days, to wonder how you're going to cook dinner for your kids. I understand what it feels like to not want to do this anymore. I understand what it feels like to wish that you were not going to wake up tomorrow. And with that said, I also understand and I also know from the bottom of my heart that it doesn't have to stay that way. I'm very thankful that I crashed after stem cells. I'm very thankful that the clarity and the feeling and the emotion came back after receiving stem cells. It was like, how I explain it is, it was like I thought I was handling everything. I thought I was feeling everything, but I wasn't. And after I received stem cells, I started to feel everything, like I've mentioned before. Like every single event the kids had gone through, every medical appointment, every procedure, everything in slow motion, like a movie being played back in my mind. I would look at the kids, and when I looked at them, I didn't see just what was happening at the moment. I saw everything that had happened over the past 2 years, and it wouldn't shut off. And it got to the point where I couldn't look in the mirror. I would cover half of my face because I could not physically look at myself. Because when I looked at myself, I felt everything. I hated everything. I hated myself. I hated my face. I hated what had happened. I hated every single piece of everything. And I just wanted it to stop. And I felt like I had no control over making it stop or feeling anything different. And at the same time, I felt like I had control over everything. If I couldn't sleep, well, the way I would control that is I would research things on the internet, and that made me feel like I had control because I could find new treatments for the kids and I could find other options. And it was a very dangerous cycle, and I understand. And when you get to the point where your vocabulary does not allow you to say the word hope without feeling it, when you get to the point where you think that your strength is in just functioning and that's it, that's okay, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I got to the point where I could barely sleep. I became a zombie almost, because if I actually allowed people to understand what was going on in my head, I felt like they would think I was completely crazy, and that made me nervous. because I didn't want people to think I couldn't take care of the kids. But it was getting to the point that, I would drive up to the mountain near my house and I would sit and I would just wish that there was a way I could disappear without hurting anybody. And I realized one day, like, that you're missing something. You're missing something. If you're so strong that you can get up every day and you can search for answers for your children, and you can still love your children and be there for your children, but you don't think there's any control you have over the way you feel, that just didn't make any sense to me. There had to be a way that I could help myself. And having a psychology background, I knew that talk therapy wasn't really going to do much because, first of all, there aren't many Lyme literate counselors out there. And second of all, I just didn't think talking about it was going to do much. I talked about it in my head all the time. So I reached out on a whim, like I had mentioned before, to this woman that does energy healing. And as everybody knows, it's helped me. And I need people to understand that the reason that I am talking about this is because I did not think anything could help me. Nobody. The only thing that could help me was seeing my children get better. And that's not the truth. The truth was I was able to get help. And the first stage of that help was taking Lyme disease away as my identity. Lyme disease becomes your identity, especially as a mother. Even if you are a mother who does not have Lyme disease still becomes your identity. And if you think about it, it sort of has to in a way, or you think it has to. Most people spend years searching for a diagnosis. Years. For me, it was about 14. You search for this diagnosis, you search for validation, and then you get validation, and it's about a disease that most people don't agree. Most medical professionals don't understand it exists. They don't have proper treatment. There's no proper testing. And it's not like you're given an answer of, yes, you have Lyme disease, and now you're going to go through this treatment, and then you're going to feel better or get put in remission. It doesn't work that way. So you have to become Lyme disease, because if you don't, you feel like there's no one that can fight for you or fight for them. But the problem when it becomes your own identity, you lose all the pieces of you that used to be there. You lose the little voice on your shoulder that tells you you're a person, you're a woman, you're a human, you're a mother, you're a wife. All you hear is you're a Lyme disease patient or you're a Lyme disease advocate. So that layer took about 2 times to shed. I remember in the session we did something called emotional freedom tapping, which at first I thought was cuckoo. I'm like, okay, what's tapping on certain? But the science behind it is you have a pathway for every emotion you feel. Every time something in life triggers that certain emotion, it goes through the same channels and it makes your body have the same response. So you basically acknowledge the emotion with love and respect for yourself, and you are able to switch the wording that you have surrounded with that emotion, and it's very freeing, and it strangely works tremendously. So after about 2 times, my Lyme identity went away and I started feeling more like a person. Now, what I noticed is nothing changed. Actually, at the time, the kids were worse post-stem cells for a little while. They were having some scary side effects, or not really side effects, manifestations of healing, basically. And so the point is nothing with the kids changed. Financially, things are more stressful. My mother-in-law was about to leave, so I wasn't going to have any help. And somehow I was better. I was able to feel and breathe. I did not have insomnia anymore. I was able to sleep. So my point is, when you are struggling, like I said, I understand, you can't see that there's a way out. You feel like you have no power over your emotion, over your brain, over your body. And I just want to explain to you that you do have power, because if I could get out of the depression, the severe, passively suicidal depression, then so can you. I am a mother who also has suffered with Lyme disease, who was completely ignored by doctors for 7 years, had a blood clot in my body, in my neck, come from my brain, and have people tell me they don't know what did it, and I don't know what to tell you. And to have the Lyme doctor in Colorado finally diagnose me with a disease that I gave to my children, who are now sick and struggling. If I can find happiness and if I can find clarity, then so can you. So that's just part one of what I wanted to explain in our journey, in my journey. Tomorrow I'm going to go more into what staying in Lyme identity does to you as a person and how it affects your health. So I urge you to share this with other Lyme moms. And I also want everyone to know that you're completely welcome to reach out to me to get more information or to just talk, have somebody there to listen to you who understands. And I hope you all understand this is coming from a place very dear and close to my heart, because the saddest part of all of this is suffering is not a place that is proactive for you to be when you need to take care of your children. So you can set yourself free from that suffering and also teach your children how to be able to deal with all of this as well. We had a doctor ask us what Lyme treatment worked for us, and this is the only thing that I can say had the most immediate results, and the only thing that's made such a huge impact so far in 3 years of treatment. I always told everybody I'm a very blunt person. I don't sugarcoat anything to do with Lyme disease. I don't think there's room for it. But I also said when I found something that helped me that I would tell as many people as I can. And the reason is, staying in that depression doesn't help you. Staying and pretending that there's no way, I can't, it doesn't help you. And if you're searching for something to help you, and you hear of somebody that a lot of people have watched my story, a lot of people have followed our journey, and I said from the very beginning that one day I would be in the place where I could try to help other people in our position. And now I am. So that's what I'm trying to do. So keep in your eye out for other videos over the week. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to explain the physical manifestations of the emotional trauma, basically, that Lyme can cause. So I hope to get some questions from you guys, and maybe later in the week do a live video so you can ask me directly through the live video. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.